Knights, I am excited to see you again this morning. I cannot wait to see what we learn from our armor and from Sparky today. Tell me what your favorite part about was yesterday and put it in the comments. I'm super curious. Now, let's go over our memory verse again before I hand it over to our armor and Sparky. Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his power. Ephesians 6:10.
Welcome back, Knights of the North Castle. I hope everyone is ready for another great quest. Have you seen my dragon friend Sparky?
Here I am. Choo!
Look, the Knights are back. And look how good they froze in place when you sneezed. Where were you?
Sorry I was late. I had cold feet.
What? What are you talking about?
You know, cold feet, nervous. It's a joke.
Oh, Sparky, have you been reading that old joke book again?
Oh yeah, I figured I'd better brush up on some jokes about the cold. After all, everything is cold here at North Castle, thanks to me and my sneezing.
Everything certainly is cool up here, including the royal musicians. Let's hear from them right now.
When temptation's big and my faith seems small, I remember to surrender to the one who's able to deliver me, my shield and my defender. They may look big, they may look tall, but the bigger they come, the harder they fall. They may look big, they may look tall, but the bigger they come, the harder they fall. They may look big, they may look tall, but the bigger they come, the harder they fall. They may look big, they may look tall, but the bigger they come, the harder they fall. The bigger they come, the harder they fall. Giants in the land, my God is greater than the giants in the land, so I won't be afraid of all the giants in the land. Clothed in the armor of God, I'll stand against the giants in the land. Oh, 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 giants in the land. Oh, oh, oh. Though I walk through valleys, I will not fear. When I remember to surrender to the one who's able to deliver me, my shield and my defender. They may look big, they may look tall, but the bigger they come, the harder they fall. They may look big, they may look tall, but the bigger they come, the harder they fall. They may look big, they may look tall, but the bigger they come, the harder they fall. They may look big, they may look tall, but the bigger they come, the harder they fall. The bigger they come, the harder they fall. Giants in the land, my God is greater than the giants in the land, so I won't be afraid of all the giants in the land. Clothed in the armor of God, I'll stand against the giants in the land. My God is greater than the giants in the land, so I won't be afraid of all the giants in the land. Clothed in the armor of God, I'll stand against the giants in the land. Oh, 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 giants in the land. The bigger they come, the harder they fall.
Great job, musicians and knights. Now feel free to chill out. Armor Karen, could you check my wing? You know the real dog, don't you?
Frost? The king's dog? Did he bite your wing?
He sure did. Now I have a frostbite. Get it?
Unfortunately, I do. Sparky, I found another riddle about the great armor. Remember, these riddles are written in an ancient dragon language.
And I am the only one here who can interpret. Let me see what you have. This one says, if the breastplate of justice is what you seek, look for 5 pebbles in a creek.
The breastplate of justice must be another piece of the great armor. So to find it, we have to look for the 5 pebbles in a creek.
Well, around here, it'd be 5 pebbles in our frozen moat.
I think the riddle is trying to tell us where to look in the King's book. 5 pebbles. Well, in looking through here, I see where people gathered 12 rocks after they crossed a river. But wouldn't that be it?
There's a boy who had 5 loaves of bread. I've eaten some bread that was just about as hard as rock.
I've got it. There was a story in 1 Samuel chapter 17, verses 1 through 50 about a boy and 5 stones. Maybe that's it. Let's take a look inside the King's book and see if the royal players can help us find out.
The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 17, tells us about one of the most famous battles in the history of the world. It all starts with King Saul, a very strong and handsome guy. However, as we learn later, he was not a great king at all. Therefore, God chose a small young shepherd to be the next king. He was the smallest and youngest of 8 sons. His name was David. This little shepherd really loved God. King Saul led his people in battle against their arch nemesis, the Philistines. They were not very nice people. When I said they were not nice, I meant to say they were very mean. Thank you. The Philistine army was very confident, and for good reason. They had a secret weapon, a powerful soldier named Goliath. He measured 6 cubits and a span. In other words, he was very tall. Taller than that. Taller? Close enough. Every day, Goliath yelled at the Israelites to send out someone to fight. All the Israelites, including King Saul, were too afraid to fight Goliath, so they did nothing for 40 days. Nothing, that is, until little David showed up to bring lunch to his brothers. While delivering food, David heard Goliath shouting at the Israelites, "Send out a man for me to fight." So he volunteered. The king was unsure about sending a boy into battle. But David told the king about how he had fought both lion and bear to protect his sheep. I will do the same to Goliath. The king agreed and gave David all of his armor to wear, but it didn't fit. Instead, David simply took his sling, went to the creek, and found 5 smooth rocks. Maybe try those smaller ones over there. With only his sling and a bag of rocks, David goes to fight the powerful Goliath. Now, it was Goliath's turn to be shocked as he saw David approaching. Instead of a strong warrior, the Israelites sent a small shepherd boy with no armor. "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" Unfazed, David said, "You fight me with weapons, but God will win this battle." Goliath just laughed. Maybe a little more... Yeah, that's it. Anyway, David took a stone from his bag, put it in his sling, and flung it at Goliath. It hit him right in the head, and he fell on his face. When the other Philistines saw that Goliath was dead, they all ran away, and the Israelites ran after them. All of this was just as David said when he told Goliath, "Our God doesn't need swords or spears. God owns this battle, and he will hand all of you over to us and bring justice." And this is just one great story from the King's book.
That was one epic battle, and that story answered our riddle about the pebbles in a creek. Sparky! Sparky!
Is it over? Was the giant defeated?
Yes, where did you go? Were you afraid of Goliath?
Of course.
Well, so were the Israelites. I bet David would be a big fan of our banner verse. Remember, it's from Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10, and it says, "Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his power." Sparky, why don't you say it with us this time? Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his power.
That does give me a little more courage.
Speaking of courage, our knights did a great job on their first quest last time. Now it's time for another quest.
Last time, our brave knights practiced their balance, which is very important for a knight. Why do they need to practice? What do they need to practice this time?
This time we need to practice a little horse riding. Horse riding is a big part of being a knight. Knights spend a lot of time on horses and need to have proper riding techniques so they don't fall off. Everyone, stand up with me. Now bend your knees a little. Keep your back straight and bounce up and down.
Do they need to hold on to anything?
Thanks for the reminder. Yes, a knight would hold on to the reins of the horse. You could pretend to do that with either one of your hands. Try that with me.
They are looking more and more like knights. What's our castle call out today?
The castle call out is armor up with justice. Remember to put your fist on your shoulders like you are putting on a safety harness when you say armor up. Now do this motion when you say with justice. This motion. Let's put it all together. Armor up with justice.
Choo! Knights, when you unfreeze, remember to follow your castle guides and station leaders. They will help you on your quest today. Off you go to find the breastplate of justice.
Welcome back, fellow knights. We are working on justice today. And justice is a big word that means to do what's right and what's fair. Today's story, we learned about a little shepherd boy named David, and he stood up to a giant named Goliath. And he couldn't do that all on his own. He needed God's help. But Goliath was causing trouble for David's people, and no one was willing to stand up or brave enough to stand up to Goliath. So David volunteered, even though he wasn't a soldier. All he was a boy that watched his father's sheep. But he was also a loyal follower of God. So he saw that the injustice or the unfair acts that were happening because of Goliath's words and how unkind he was. So David volunteered to stand up to Goliath. While we're working on today's project, I want you to think about a time that you saw someone fighting for justice. Was it while you were at school or maybe when you were around town? And if you are with a sibling or a parent right now, I'd like you to describe that time to them. Today, we're going to be making initial plaques, and they're like a flag or family crest. A family crest was something that was used in the time of the knights, like what we're talking about, the knight's castle. So what you'll need today is your cardboard flag that has been sent to you, some wet glue, we need some markers, pom-poms, or we're using cotton balls, and some string. I think it's a piece of ribbon that we're sending. So those are the items that you should have out from your packet today. The first thing you're going to do is color or decorate your flag in any way you'd like. And I worked ahead a little bit, and I've already colored my flag. So once you have it all colored and decorated, you're going to use your wet glue, and you're going to draw out the first initial of your first name Or you could do it with your last name if you'd like. I'm going to do a D for David because he was the main character in our story today. And then you're going to take your cotton balls and you're just going to cover up your D. Or whatever the first letter of your name is. And once you get that covered, it should look just like a family crest. Now, back in the time of knights, they used to have flags with certain pictures and symbols on it that meant something to each family. And this is kind of what we're doing today. So here's my D. And then once that's completely dry, you're going to want to put your ribbon through the holes that are punched in there and tie it off. And tie it, I put knots through, whatever works best for you. And once you get that put together, you'll have your flag, your initial plaque. I did one too. I had beads at home, so I decorated mine and put beads on it with the first letter of my first name. And to help remember today's story, in standing up for justice, reflect on a time when you stood up for justice. Were you scared, like maybe David was, but you were brave and did it anyway? How were you able to rise above your fears and stand up for justice?
We made some pretty cool flags for crafts today. Thanks, Miss Jessica, for teaching us how. We are learning about David and Goliath, and the song Giants in the Land earlier was awesome. Now we are going to learn a new song called Jesus, You Remain. Check it out with me.
You know my past, you hold my future, and your love will last forever and ever. All will fade away. Jesus, you remain. Jesus, you are unshakable. Jesus, your love's unbreakable, faithful. You never change. Higher, you are on top
God helped David have faith to fight Goliath and win. North Castle also needs protection. Let's build catapults to protect it. What are these sort of items usually used for? You should have some popsicle sticks in your bag and some rubber bands, maybe a spoon. Find all those items and start thinking about what we usually use them for. I used a spoon this morning with my cereal. And I have rubber bands that I use to keep baggies closed at home. And popsicle sticks, I was recently at the doctor and they used one to look down into my throat and make sure I was healthy. But today we're going to use these items and we're going to make a catapult so that we can protect the North Castle. So what I first want you to do is take about 5 or 6 of your popsicle sticks and hold them in your hand nice like this. See how they're all flushed together and they're all held securely? And then you're going to put one rubber band on one end. See? And then another rubber band on the other end, and now they're stuck together. Okay? This is going to be the main basis of our catapult. So now you need to take 2 more. Got 2? And you are going to put one rubber band all by itself, not holding anything. I know this is a little strange, right? Right here in the middle. Because let me show you on my finished one. We need one right here in the middle that's not really holding on to anything to hold these big ones that we just made in place. Otherwise it slips all over and it's hard to do. So let's put one right there. And then we're going to put the other 2 sticks, or the other stick on top of it, excuse me. And on one side, not both, just one, you're going to wrap around a rubber band until it's tight. Now see, I should have the ability to put my finger in there, right? Oh, look at that, I'm shaking. Whew, it's so exciting. Okay, so we have our big sticks that we put all together and our 2 little ones that we have put separate. Now we're going to put the big ones inside the other ones until it's just past that rubber band that you put in the middle. If you want to secure it even farther, you can pull out that rubber band if you have some space and put it around the big sticks. But you don't have to do that part, whatever works. And to be honest, you can make this catapult however you want. You have the materials, you do it however works best for you, okay? This is just one way to do it, but be creative. All right, so now we have the basis, but we need something to hold our cannonballs or our ice balls or whatever we're going to use to shoot in our catapult. Now you should have some sort of a puffball, but if you have mini marshmallows or something like that, feel free to put those in your catapult too. So first we are going to stick one end of the spoon through the first rubber bands at the bottom. That's going to hold the bottom tight. And then we're going to take one of our other rubber bands and we're going to secure the rubber band. Oh, I almost did it to both. Don't do it to both of these tongue depressors. Just do it to one at the top, okay? So once we have secured our spoon, we're all ready. So now we have our catapult. Take whatever you've decided you're going to use to shoot out of your catapult. Hold one hand on that thick part in the crossbeam. And ta-da! We're shooting our catapults. Now, these catapults are not very useful in fighting for justice, right? But our relationship with God helps us to know what is right. And it helps us to stand up for justice, for ourselves and for others.
Remember the story from our Armor and Sparky this morning? How cool that we got to make something of our own to defeat Goliath. I think that we need to tell Goliath we are not scared of giants. Join me in this super fun song called Hey Hey Goliath.
Hey, hey Goliath, you look pretty big. Me, on the other hand, I'm just a little kid. So what? I may not be strong as you. There is something about me you don't know. Here's the truth, see? You stand before me with your shield and sword, but I stand before you in the name of the Lord, yeah. You stand before me with your shield and sword, but I stand before you in the power of the Lord, yeah. Hey, hey, Goliath. 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 If only you knew. You think you're fighting me, but you're really fighting too. The battle's not mine, it belongs to the Lord. Greater is the one who's in me than any in the world. So you stand before me with your shield and sword, but I stand before you in the name of the Lord, yeah. You stand before me with your shield and sword, but I stand before you in the power of the Lord, yeah. Hey, hey, Goliath. 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 Go ahead and laugh. I got a couple pebbles hidden in this bag. When I raise my arm, when I start to swing, I'ma knock you out with just a rock and a sling, yeah. You stand before me with your shield and sword, but I stand before you in the name of the Lord, yeah. You stand before me with your shield and sword, but I stand before you in the power of the Lord, yeah. Hey, hey, Goliath. 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 Stand before me with your shield and sword. Hey, Goliath. Stand before you with the name of the Lord. Hey, Goliath. Stand before me with your shield and hey, hey, Goliath. Hey, hey, Goliath.
Hey guys, it's McKenna again. Today for Rec Day 2, we're going to be building a tall tower with the supplies in your bag. So we're going to use these supplies, the cups, the jumbo popsicle sticks, to create a strong, tall tower, a tower that can be built using a combination of these items. Your goal is to make a super tall tower and then add the little dinosaur figurine at the very top. So here's one way we can do it. Our banner verse from Ephesians 6:10 says, "Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his power." Let's repeat that verse together. Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his power. What does it mean to be strong in the Lord? Why was David so strong? David was strong in the Lord and had the strength of God to give him power to seek injustice for the Israelites. I wonder how we can seek justice for others. Let's name ways we can seek justice for others and be strong in the Lord.
Thanks again, McKenna. I can't wait to find out what we learn tomorrow. Our last song for the day will be something to slow your heart rate down. Let's sing about how God can help us with everything. Here is our God.
Water you turned into wine. Open the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you. None like you. Into the darkness you shine.
fellow knights of the kingdom. Hello, knights. Good to see you again today. I am the storyteller of the kingdom, and today's story is David Defeats Goliath. And we're going to learn how to armor up with justice. Enjoy the story. We got power, yes we do. We got power, how about you? We've got power, yes we do. We've got power, how about you? We got muscles, yes we do. We got muscles, how about you? Okay, look, all this chatting is getting us nowhere. You want to conquer us? We want to conquer you, right? Right. I have an idea. What if you choose a champion? We'll choose a champion of our own. The two can meet in the middle to battle it out. And no one else gets hurt? Nope. What if our guy wins? Then we will be your servants. And if your guy wins, then we will be you'll be our servants. Easy breezy, macaroni and cheesy. Sounds reasonable to me. Let's do it. Okay, it's a deal. Goliath! Whoa, he's really big. He's like 10 feet tall. So, which one of you pipsqueaks is gonna come out here and duke it out with me? What's the matter? Doesn't anyone have the guts to take me on? I can't. My dog ate my sword. No one. Then I will have to insult you until someone steps forward. Your army is so weak. How weak is it, Goliath? Your army is so weak that when you play soccer, the ball kicks you. Ooh, solid burn, Goliath, good one. Here's another one. Your army is so smelly. How smelly is it, Goliath? Your army is so smelly, your dogs give you a bath. Ouch! That's gotta hurt. Insult him again, Goliath. Greetings, King Saul. Here I come. Do you see me? It's me, David. My father sent me with some food for you. How are things on the battlefield? Well, I think I've lost my appetite. We're all too scared to eat. Scared? Scared of what? What do you mean of what? See that giant over there? Sure, it's kind of hard to miss a guy as tall as a basketball hoop. He's the Philistines' champion. We need a brave Israelite champion to go over and face him one-on-one. If our guy wins, the Philistines will serve us. But if Goliath wins, we have to serve them. I will face Goliath. You're just a small shepherd boy. As a shepherd, I've defended my flock from bears and lions. But Goliath's huge, and he's tough, and he says mean things. The way Goliath is talking to God's people just isn't right. Something must be done. Well, at least let me give you my armor to help you stand against Goliath. Facing life's challenges isn't about what you stand against, it's about what you stand for and who you stand with. I stand for justice, and I know God will stand with me. I'm going to go get some rocks. What is David doing? It looks like he's picking up some stones for his sling, but how many? Looks like 5 stones. Here he comes back. Hey, Goliath, your bullying days are over. This is the best you can do? This puny little guy? Your warrior is so small. How small is he, Goliath? He's so small, ants chase him away from their picnics. Good one, Goliath! Hey, Goliath! You're gonna feel the power of God! Huh? Huh? Wow, that was a good shot. How good was it, Goliath? Oh, that good. We got David. Yes, we do. We got David. How about you? You did it, David. You beat the giant with just a small stone and sling. I won because I stood for justice, because I stood for God's way, and God stood with me. Yay! Well, that was our story. Hello there. I hope you enjoyed it. So, I'm going to ask some questions to see what you thought of the story and what you remembered. Bullies can make us feel small and alone. In fact, bullies tend to pick on people who appear to be all alone. Who was the bully in this story? Goliath. You see it right there? Yep, Goliath. Right. And Goliath was bullying the Israelites by insulting them and their God. Goliath was humongous, but one person who believed in God's justice went out and faced Goliath. Who was it? David. Many people read the story of David and Goliath and think, see, there, David stood up to Goliath. He bonked Goliath right in the head with a stone and saved the day. So we always should stand up to bullies. But often when someone smaller stands up to a bully, just take it. The smaller person gets clobbered. So we have the bully, Goliath. We have the ones being bullied, the Israelites. We have someone who risked bodily harm to stand up to the bully, David. Please tell me who else is a part of the story. That's right, God. God is the biggest part of the story. God helped David defeat Goliath. Jolly good, brilliant knights. David wasn't alone at all. God was there showing us, as God so often does, the best way to handle the situation. God didn't stand against Goliath so much as God stood with David. All right, that's our story for today. See you tomorrow. Huzzah!
David went into battle against Goliath with the king's armor, a sandwich and an apple, a sling and 5 small stones, his best friend. A sling and 5 small stones. To become a knight, one would first become a page, and then a whole book, squire, police officer, baker. A squire. Our banner verse states, "Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his power, army, horses, iceberg." Power. Thanks for playing.
Knights, you must have been really paying attention. You were excellent in trivial. I haven't asked. How did you do on your quest?
Did you find the breastplate of justice? Or did you just find the breastplate of just ice? Get it? Just ice?
Yes, I think we got it.
It's just ice. It's funny because it sounds just like justice, and there's a lot of ice here.
Yes, thank you, Sparky. But we are talking about the breastplate of justice.
What is a breastplate anywhere? What's justice? Are these things Roman soldiers have?
Great question, Sparky. Yes, these are all metaphors, things that are familiar that help us understand something unfamiliar. Paul, the writer of Ephesians, used a breastplate as a metaphor. Remember, there were a lot of Roman soldiers around, and people would have understood what he was saying. The breastplate was the main part of a Roman soldier's armor. It would protect important parts of the body, like the heart and lungs. When we talk about justice, we might mean someone getting either a reward or a punishment for something that they had done.
So when David defeated Goliath, that was justice?
Yes, God rewarded David for trusting in God. God decides what justice is because God is perfect. God is just, so God can bring justice.
Last time we found the belt of truth, and this time we found the breastplate of justice. Those sound like two different things.
Actually, justice and truth go together, just like the belt and the breastplate go together in a soldier's armor. A soldier would need to put his belt on first, and then his breastplate, just like we need to know the truth before we can know about justice.
This is really exciting.
It sure is. Great job, Knights. This story about David reminds us that God can bring justice. David knew that the Lord, the God of Israel, was with him, and that the truth gave him courage to stand up to the giant. David knew that God would bring justice between Goliath and the Philistine army and the Israelites.
And God brought the Israelites victory, even though they had to face Goliath.
Exactly. Let's say the castle call out together. Armor up with justice.
Say it with us, Knights. Armor up with
justice.
Great.
And let's not forget our banner verse. Be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his power. Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, that you are the one true God. Thank you that you bring justice and you give us the courage to trust you, even when we are in difficult situations. Amen.
Chew.
Way to freeze in place. Now that you're all amazing ice statues, here are some announcements before we leave.
That was such a fun day. Learning about justice and the story of David and Goliath was really cool, right? I love dancing to Hey Hey Goliath. What was your favorite part about today? I am so curious to know. Was it the catapult from science, or the family crest from crafts, or maybe the fun workout? Music is always my favorite part, but I had so much fun today. I love learning about how God helps us through things when we trust in Him. God is always on our side. For today, your mission challenge is to go out and spread joy. And I can't wait to hear about what you chose to do. You could go say hi to a neighbor from afar, or you could walk around the neighborhood and blow bubbles or do something fun. But spread joy. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.